Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again, and as you can see in the current video, I wanted to play around with alternate quality Cleave yet again. I've done it once before because it's just such a goddamn novelty. The alternate quality is 100% chance to destroy corpses on kill. So most destroyed corpses on kill mechanics have some sort of effect or an explosion or a little bloody sploosh or some shit. This one, for some reason, on Cleave, just deletes them, just wipes them away, erases them from the screen, as if they forgot to add an animation to it and thought they'd come back to it later and then didn't. That's what it feels like. In any case, our character ramped up to what is now this, and it is a Berserker with pretty much maximum rage. You can get a bit more, but this is realistically as much as we're going to get. 95 rage, and I went maximum attack speed on this character and picked Blitz Ascendancy as well, which is pretty uncommon since it's not that worth doing. You'd rather just take some fat damage or some I don't know, good stuff on Berserker as opposed to trading your crit for attack speed. But I wanted maximum attack speed, realistically, without going overboard, so that we can basically make Cleave feel less shit. Because Cleave, this is with some area investment. We do have the Cleave threshold, which gives radius, and as well as that, using Pulverize, and you can't really go too much more without just ruining everything else. So you can't invest heavily into area since area scaling does so fucking little for Cleave that it just feels awful. So in that case, basically I just went out of my way to get as much attack speed as possible, use a couple of savior clones, so just a savior weapon with a foil in the offhand, and that attack speed with the deletion should give us some decent clear in the end. If it just had another like 50% more attack speed, so it covers, I don't know, half the screen or something, it'd be pretty insane. Whereas at this stage, yeah, still kind of flaccid, but we did our best, and I did almost cave to playing Blade Flurry on this character. I tried Blade Flurry out, and I was like, damn, that is doing some good work, but I went back to Cleave and got used to it and then basically committed into it because it didn't feel that bad to me in the end. And it is more or less a template for any sort of character, any sort of skill you can do with a Berserker that is pure physical with swords and then Impale. So there's not too many out there like that, but we're talking maybe Perforate, Blade Flurry, Cleave, Double Strike, Dual Strike, can't really think of too much else. But yeah, things like that. And no, you can't use Sweep. Sweep is for two-handers. It doesn't work in this build. Funnily enough, I've been asked that many times, what about Sweep? So yeah, especially things with some initial flat fizz scaling, since our weapons don't have that much fizz to begin with. Yeah, that's what gets us going. This is a Trial Master fight. I fought two Trial Masters on this guy, so we did get a little bit lucky to see him twice. And you can notice that the rage degen, when you have 95 rage, is pretty damn potent. So I've tried to fix that up by doing overleech, or just, some leech nodes. It's not technically overleech, it's just more leech during the actual leeching effect itself. And in the end, it just makes a few fights a little more uncomfortable, but the DPS is pretty damn nutty for what is nothing particularly special. It's not taking the 40% more damage node for Berserker, so we're not that squishy. It's just a bit of that rage degen, which is annoying. Got scammed by Cirrus over here, by the way. He just started a die beam immediately for no reason without a voice cue, and we died. So anyway, as I was saying, no 40% damage taken, don't have an Abyssus. It's a 400 DPS foil, which really isn't that insane, and a Savior. And the rest of the gear, yeah, it's solid, but nothing insane. So we did end up pulling out some pretty decent DPS in the end on the character. Wasn't at all disappointed with his end game performance. As a matter of fact, I was surprised that it did as well as it did. However, the clear, like I said, not the most enjoyable. It's just Cleave with small area, big attack speed, and yeah. Don't know what else to say. But this is a really good example of a boss kill. Did Deathless Breach Lords, just cleaned them up nicely, and went about our day. So I will go into how I built the character, since this is a video showing everything all at once. So let's get into it. So here is our character, level 92 body removal service for the Cleave that does delete corpses. It's a pretty basic, or at least I'd say just like typical Impale character. There's nothing too outlandish or crazy, I don't think. And you'll have similar success by doing, I don't know, many different types of Impale with this type of shit. So as I said, the Ascendancy for Berserker goes for the rage nodes. It gives you triple rage damage, and pretty damn powerful. You don't really need much damage scaling throughout the tree because of that. You just try and focus on some crit multi, life, Impale stuff. We then have the Flawless Savagery, bit of crit, and then Blitz, which gives you more attack speed but less crit. So you have to kind of overcome that with more % crit in your tree than usual, but 40% more attack speed in the end. Pretty damn girthy. And it does, you know, have a low duration, but you attack pretty quick and get it up most of the time fairly quickly, even on boss fights. So the passive tree just basically, yep, goes down here, and then all the way out here we do need some dexterity to wear a foil. That's a little bit of mana leech. That's all our crits taken care of. We are using a Conqueror's Efficiency for a bit of extra rage, as well as minus mana cost. Got Corrupted Blood Immune on it as well, and then a Overwhelming Odds for the Cleave, Fortify, and Radius. You can put Corrupted Blood on that, it'd be much cheaper. I just vialed mine here and got that there, if you'd rather. So also a cluster jewel that isn't particularly important for the large, mostly trying to get to the smalls just for some Feast of Flesh action, because life gain on hit with our attack speed is pretty potent. So on the large we have Martial Prowess, Combat Rhythm, and Martial Momentum. On the mediums, just more crit, since we got such, you know, low crit. Getaway, Pressure Points, Getaway, Pressure Points, and then went Feast of Flesh, and a bit of resist as well. So Feast of Flesh, and then down here took these leech nodes as well, so that when we're actually attacking and getting hit, we do recover it quite nicely, since we have so much degen coming in from the rage. So the setup is just a savior, a 400 DPS foil, so you alt regal until you get something good. In this case, attack speed, tempered roll, so not too bad, but by no means the biggest foils on the market. Look anything like this. Then multi-mod with some fizz and crit. Crit not terribly important, since, you know, we start out with 5.5 here anyway, and then try and overcome it with a chest. So basic helm, just blood and sand buff effect, so it's a bit more area. An amulet with some int or dexterity, crit multi, fizz damage, life roll, the usual assassin mark ring, my usual vulnerability ring with minus mana cost, so that we're, you know, trying to reserve as much as possible, and since we attack so fast, we really don't want a high mana cost. Gloves that have dexterity, accuracy, can still try and annul them, get rid of that life on kill and put attack speed on there, but couldn't be fucked. Just, you know, potentially losing gloves. Bear's Girdle, so that's the most interesting item on our build, I suppose. 20 extra rage, bit of extra fizz. Nearby enemies are crushed while you have rage. That is lowers physical damage reduction by 15%. Tailwind boots, just chaos spammed, I think, until I got some tailwind, and then I like annulled some shit maybe, and then did a keep suffixes harvest, and we can finish it off with ashling if we want, but the character doesn't really need movement speed, because we are for the most part just jumping around. So I don't even have a Quicksilver at this point, and as well as that, triple rage at 95 gives you some decent movement speed if you still want some. The chest, though, I think that was a... oh, jeez. Chaos spam? No, Woke Orb. So we took attack, crit, and curse, maybe? I can't remember at this point. Basically, we got an additional curse just so that you can have both these curses. Not super important, but Assassin Mark by itself is mostly what we need. And then attack crit. Attack crit is the most important thing because we have such low crit to begin with on this sword, and then possibly on the other sword, depending on what you roll. And then some life rolls. Hit some regen on the suffixes, which is nice, just for sustain on this type of a character, but it made capping resists a little bit tougher. So that's basically it for the character's little setup there. We've then got Silver Flask, Diamond Flask, Lion's Roar, which is really annoying sometimes with the knockback, mostly from what I can think of on Harvest. These Harvest mobs don't really die instantly, and then you're just knocking them around, and especially if there's proximity bubbles, and then used a base ult with additional crit on it. The links in the setup are Phantasmal Cleave, Impale, Fizz Damage, Brutality, Multi-Strike, and Close Combat. Fizz Damage is our single target swap, otherwise we are using Pulverize the rest of the time, because we really need that increased area. Over here we have Convocation, so that just summons our Savior Spirits to us. I was only really using that when I was testing Blade Flurry, otherwise I don't think it really matters. Hydrosphere, purely to beef up your rage. As a Zerker, getting to 95 rage for the start of a fight, pretty shit. So Chain Hook and then Hydrosphere, and you can get your rage stacking pretty quickly. So it's definitely worth doing, having that in your setup. So you get to 95 rage, and you can see we start attacking pretty damn fast when we get to that point, and we start degenning pretty damn hard. So there it is, and there's our degen, and there's our attack speed, kind of. Chain Hook, Rage, that's just so that Leap Slam is generating a little bit of extra rage sometimes, and faster attacks. Dash, Blood and Sand, Blood Rage. Down here is Multi-Totem, Phantasmal Protector, Maim, and War Chief, so that's how we maim in the build. And then our auras are Dread Banner, Pride, Herald of Purity, and Enlighten level 3. And that should leave us with enough mana to then get plenty of attacks in if we have the minus mana cost here, and if we are using our Conqueror's Efficiency. And I think that's about all I got to say for the build. Like I said, pretty typical Impale template. Nothing terribly special, just trying to make use of the Cleave, which is Phantasmal Cleave, 100% chance to destroy corpses on kill. Still a pretty lackluster skill. I think it needs a bit of area. Like, it's got radius from the threshold, but it still just scales pathetically. And even when you do get bigger scaling, the graphic doesn't line up with it for some reason, so it looks bigger, but then it's not. Like, we can hit out to, our graphic can hit out to here when we've got like Massive Shrine or some shit, but we'll only actually be hitting out to here. Weird, I don't know. It definitely needs a slight adjustment, but viable enough, we'll just say. Fun little alt quality either way. I hope you guys enjoyed the character. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.